everyone? Welcome to the EPS Winter 2013 Finals coming up here very shortly. I'm Jason Kaplan, and I'm actually missing a caster here. Hold on, let me see if I can actually work around this. Let me see if I can summon someone here in just a second. And I think I might be able to. Trevor, anywhere in Cologne, are you hearing this right now? Is there a possibility you will just magically show up with a song? It's worked before in Twitch chat. Will it work again? It's a song of his people. And hopefully... How did you get here? Where did you come from?
I heard the song of my people and I needed to respond.
Oh my god. Whoa, we got Quickshot the house here to cast this one up with us. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. Are we leaving this as a theme song for you now? We're just leaving it on the whole time?
You know what? Go for it. It works for me. Hey, I mean, I got absolutely no issues.
We'll do picks and bans with this song actually on. So this is actually the first semifinal in the EPS Finals for the Winter 2013 season. Let's go ahead and pull up the brackets for you real quick just to show you who will be playing throughout the day. As we do have Vengeance eSports going up against ESC Icebox, and because we're starting a little bit late today, ESC has already taken one game up in this little bit of a series, but coming up after that will be Dynamics versus Playing Ducks in the other semifinal, and then the winners will obviously go on to play in the grand finals and see who can pull that one out. But we already picked some bands right now, Trevor. I really want to know what Twitch chat is saying right now after this.
I have no idea, but that was, I think, the most epic introduction I've ever had. We are in game 2 between Vengeance eSports and, of course, ESC Icebox. So we'll pull up the picks and bans for you.
No, that's Lion King.
We will get a little bit more serious in the coming minutes, guys. But to kick this one off...
Oh, wow. Let's talk to the bands real quick. As you can see, ESC going to be on the blue team here. And we have Vengeance over on the red side. We do have Casson, Evelyn, and Nidalee banned out. And Shavana, Fiddlesticks, and Naz is taken away by Vengeance. Remember, this is on the 3.14 patch. Trevor, before we get into the picks, why don't you walk us through these bans real quick? Okay,
so ESC, cuts and paste of game 1. I know we didn't cover it on this stream, but we were watching the game over on the German stream. They've removed the same champion pool. They also managed to get Lucian in the previous game, and they first picked him here. So putting a lot of importance and emphasis on that champion. On the other side, Vengeance, they've locked in that Annie. They also had Annie in the previous game. I think they're comfortable with the pick so far, but it does mean that Rengar is still up, and it's something that we've been seeing a lot in a lot of the other games.
I was just going to mute the Circle of Life because it's an awkward spot right now. But
it is in a little bit of an awkward spot. But yeah, you know, Rengar, who we've been seeing elsewhere, but we haven't seen here today just yet. There was actually a Mumu jungle in the previous game.
Yeah, and it was really hit or miss for me in that way, if you guys saw that over on the German stream, because when he hit ulti, he hit like one person.
Yeah.
But when he hit multiple people, like they would win the fights pretty easily.
So we'll see how they decide to play this one. I was actually ESC that ran that jungle and Mumu in the last game. This time around, they've locked in that Zyra and that Renekton. Again, it's sort of the... I don't want to say flavor of the month, but it's the current strong champions, I guess. You know, Elise, Annie, Renekton, Zyra, all of these things are champions we've been seeing many, many times over the course of this last week and a half worth of games. And Lucian, Zyra, it's the exact same combination that ESC ran in the previous match, and they won their lane as well.
Yeah, Scott, he was 7-1 at one point in that game. I didn't see what he was at the end of it, but he's going to be going up against this, well, Annie and whatever combo. And you know, you and I were talking about this as well as some other casters, and Zyra is like probably the perfect counter against an Annie, because you can keep the range, you can keep the distance with the grass roots, you can harass really well, and it wouldn't surprise me to see ESC actually snowball that lane. But we do see other picks coming in here. We see a Jackson and Ezreal picked up over on Vengeance's side.
So this is a change. In our previous matchup, they ran a Malphite in the top lane. So we've already seen a transition here, moving over to the Jax to get a little bit more damage, a little bit more, you know, continued threat during the course of a team fight. I was not particularly impressed by Vengeance's engages in the previous game. They had that Malphite, but he was using it reactively as opposed to proactively. I don't know if that playstyle is going to work on a Jax. He needs to be jumping in there with his Counter-Strike. He needs to be picking those fights. So we'll see if they can make it work a little better in this time around. But as it stands, I'm already preferring ESC's composition.
I will say this for Vengeance at least, though. I'm preferring this composition better than their last one they ran. I mean, the Malphite, we don't really see him that often, and like you said, they weren't really the ones to engage for the fights, but we do see Vi and Orianna being hovered over, and those will actually be locked in, so we do have a BDS here.
So, we do, for Vengeance, we also need...
Trying to break you, Trevor.
We also need... they ran Ziggs in the previous game. Ziggs is a champion that's been super, super popular, completely made it through the picks and bans right now. In terms of the BDS, for those not in the know, the ball delivery system, Vi is a little bit of a risky one because her ultimate can chase outside the range of Orianna's ball. So there needs to be a lot of coordination between ESC, making sure that they actually hit the same people or hitting that shockwave at the exact right time. But what I do see from ESC, they've got good engage, they've got disengage, they've got good clear, they've got good chase potential. I really like the combination. Over on the side of Vengeance, they're a lot more about insta-gib a target, land a charm, land a cocoon, blow somebody up, and then let their mobility via the Jax, the Elise, and the Ari clean up afterwards. But if they don't get an initial pick, I'm scared for team fights here for Vengeance.
Yeah, we've seen compositions like this so many times in LCS where if like a cocoon lands, then everyone else piles on that target, tries to kill me before anything else can happen. And like you said before, ESC, I love the composition with disengage that you're mentioning. You know, the whole Zyra thing of a grass roots, a Stranglethorn to get you out of there, and Orianna to speed you up, and then you have that beefy Renekton to just go mad mode in there. It's going to be really cool to see. And as this game's going to go on, you know, who's going to be stronger earlier on in the game? And who's going to be stronger later in the game, do you think?
I definitely feel like ESC, in terms of their duo lane, has a slightly stronger presence. The Lucian Zyra, I think with, you know, his piercing light and his double auto attack passive on Lucian, will be able to out DPS that damage that Ezreal and Annie will be able to put down. But I don't know if we're going to see the 2v2 matchup. In the previous game,
it's true.
It was a very weird starting 4 minutes because both teams pushed one another's, you know, 2v1 matchups to the inner turrets. And then sort of went, oh, we don't really know what to do. Nobody's fought us yet. Like,
this was unexpected.
Yeah, we were not anticipating this. And they needed to fall back and sort of regroup. And then a lot of the team fights happened. So we'll see what both of these teams have done to learn from this and, you know, adjust their playstyle here in Game 2.
I want to ask you a personal question here. 314, I asked this on Twitter. I asked people, you know, what was your favorite change coming into it? What do you think? Like, what was like the coolest thing to come in from 313 to this now? For
me, it's purely vision. For me, the fact that in every game I've watched, more people buy more wards more often because they have to now. You know, because of the ward limit being down of 3 per player. I'm just seeing inventories littered with vision, and the vision game is still evolving. I feel like supports have been quite static. We haven't seen very big changes in the support role just yet because people are still feeling it out and learning it. But I definitely feel like the entire ward game has been completely rewritten, and teams are still figuring out where the best ward spots are and how they can handle that.
Speaking of the ward game, let's talk about the ward trinkets that we have picked up here. And I know we actually talked about this quite a bit between us two, is that...
I don't think we've got the system sounds.
Well, let me... I'm not sure if that's on our audio side or if that's in-game side. Maybe our producer will let us know in just a second. But... you know, the warding trinkets, you know, walk us through what you see here, because right now we do see a sweeping lens picked up for ESC. It's my side, apparently. Okay, so let me... Yes, it is my side. Yeah.
Are we going to deafen everyone now? Did you mute your system for... No, there we go.
There we go.
So, as you can see, guys, we are having a little bit of technical difficulties, which we're working through right now. And we do have sounds
They're
back.
features of the show, actually.
I like that. So, Vengeance eSports now... they're the ones that have grouped up here in this early stages as a 5-man. They've pushed all the way forward and haven't used any wards at all. They haven't got any deep vision. They pushed all the way up and they went all the way backwards. So,
yeah, this is what's really interesting. And compared to you know, the prior patches, that we saw a lot of deep wards come down. But right now, as you pointed out, there's not a lot of that. There's not a lot of information to gather early on. And how do you think that affects invades? Does it make it more risky, or does it make it more accessible to happen?
So the whole point of the changes to vision and, you know, the introduction of the trinket system and things like that was actually to slow down the early game impact of those invades and of your junglers just being able to decide, I want this lane to win, so I'll have a 3-minute level 3 gank with blue and red buff and just, you know, at pro level play, decide that your team's going to win that lane. With all of this additional vision with the trinkets and the lack of invades, it actually just allows you to get a little bit of groove going and then get into the whole combat side of things. So I personally like it, even though it does slow down the first few minutes a little bit.
Yeah, well, right now we do see Dose going to be taking his red buff here. And I was actually hovering over Apple and Bro because I want to see what they're going to be going with that. But instead they actually don't go for anything right there. Nothing a little bit sneaky. But we do see the ward trinkets picked up. And I'll point it out a little bit earlier, but I want you to go a little bit more in depth because we do see a sweeping lens picked up for Dose.
Now the reason you're highlighting this is also we didn't see any sweeping lenses in the previous game. I didn't look at it the last 10 minutes, but for the first 20 to 30 minutes of the game, both teams just ran that, you know, ward trinket the whole time. Get to that in a second as Apple Grid takes a lot of damage. And at this time round, we see that Dose with that sweeping trinket. It implies he may want to do some invades, get inside, deny any vision around a camp, and try to steal some buffs.
Oh, and we see Vengeance getting an early level 2 here, trying to push them out of lane. And for you guys out there who are unfamiliar with the players we're actually seeing, this is a German-only competition. So these are German-only teams here. I think you have to have at least 3 or maybe it's even 4 members who are German to be able to participate. But let's go over the lines for you real quickly as the game is just kind of getting underway. For ESC side, we have Shasu on that Renekton. We have Dose on Vi, Chris on Orianna, Scott LOL on this Lucian, as we do see him go straight in onto Brokey right there. He's getting him very low with a little bit of a burst combo. Fail Factory as your support, Zyra. And Scott, he's getting very low. It looks like he's actually commit to. He's going to get the damage onto the barrier's not going to be enough. The Ignite is going to get the first blood for Apple, and they're turning this around on a Fail Factory. He's so low on health, and just that auto attack range out of an Annie is just so important and does so much work.
It looked like Scott Lol completely underestimated the amount of aggression that could come down from Vengeance there. You know, Applegard, he just kept pushing further and further and further in, and he managed to secure that kill. I must admit, Koala Una Hot is an awesome nickname, and I knew I heard the German cast.
It's Hawaiian for family.
Hawaiian for family. Hey,
it
works for me.
It's a joke.
It works for me. But yeah, First Blood picked up. This time round, it does go to the hands of Vengeance, and it was just, dare I say it, bravado from Scott Lol, because he just stood there and took all of that damage. We do see Koala, he comes inside, does land on Chris.
Gonna miss the cocoon, unfortunately, though, so Chris should be able to escape here. But over on the other side for Vengeance, we should talk about their names really quickly, as we do have Play in it as well. Playing. I'm gonna go with Playing. You're laughing at me. I'm like, this is really hard if you didn't look at their names ahead of time. Koala on the Elise, Lord Kev gonna be on the Ari, Brokey on Ezreal, and Applegend on Annie here, as we did see that First Blood go over to him. But speaking of First Blood, speaking of the changes in 3.14, as you're just shaking your head, look at what the supports picked up as their little GP5 item. I want you to walk us through this, because I know we talked about this quite a bit between us and how important and how much it can really affect a lane.
Yeah, so in terms of the different trinkets that we've been seeing, the one thing that has sort of, come up over the course of the last 2 weeks of gameplay, the passive lanes, they just want to sit back, generate gold safely, and not put themselves at risk, always go for that Ancient Coin. In terms of sort of all-ins, you need to either have the Relic Shield on your melee champions or Spell Thief on ranged. We'll talk about why in a second. As Dose and Shasu, they're going to dive.
They're going for it. They have the Ignite down, but Koala, he's there. He's here to stop it. He actually turns on a Shasu right there with the Repel, and now he's being forced to run away with his life. He doesn't have Play in there to be able to help him out since he's so low on HP, but good job at both junglers there to be there at the right time. And as you're saying, you want to go certain GP10 items on certain supports because of why? Yeah,
it's just a playstyle. We've seen Leonis and Tarix running that Relic Shield just to get that sort of execute onto minions and generate the gold, but it's not favorable. Dose and Koala trading. Koala's going to lose this.
Oh yeah, Dose is doing some really good damage, as you're seeing right there. No one's there to back him up over on either side of the team here, so they're going to be forced to pretty much duke it out, but both of them not using their flashes, both keeping those and saving those for a little bit later. But Dose definitely showing his aggression here. Man, this is a best of 3, and we do have ESC already up 1 game.
Yeah, and there was the sweeping lanes there as well, just to make sure that there was, an understanding of where the ward is. I believe he just caught sight of Koala placing his trinket down, so he should be aware that that is, going to be giving vision, and that's at least is going to help out Shasu. Scott Lol's caught in the bottom.
He's just getting zoned alone by Apple right here, and he's already so low in health. Did you see the flash and the arcade shift out of Brokey, but it's not enough. He doesn't hit the shot. But either way, the damage is done. Look at the CS difference. He's forcing ESC back yet again here, and that's all because of one man, and that's that little girl on your screen.
Yeah, you have to give mad props here to Apple Legend, because at this
Apple
point in
Legend.
time, Apple Legend, I thought there was more German to it, and I looked at him like, screw it.
Wow.
Apple Legend now.
That makes more sense.
He managed to basically win this early laning phase thanks to that First Blood that he was able to secure. By sticking in Scott Lol's face, Scott Lol and Lucian has not had the time to get his piercing lights down, hasn't had the time to get harassed. He's 15 CS down and a kill in this lane already.
Yeah, so we're going to have to see Dose maybe help him out a little bit later on. And speaking of Dose, and speaking of the junglers, walk us through how the junglers interact with the game compared to 3.13 versus 3.14 early on.
It varies vastly. So depending on the jungler that you're playing, there's actually more options available to you now. In the Season 3 gameplay that we've had all of this year long, you've seen a lot of these sort of very early timed ganks. You know what time you get your double buffs. You know you can go straight from the jungle to a lane and start picking up ganks. And it's a lot more difficult this time around. You're generally lower on health. There's more camps to farm with that white camp being there as well. So there's more gold available to you. And as you can see, at 7.5 minutes, Dose has had 1 gank in the top lane. Koala attempted some ganks, and more responding to it, but it's just much slower. these two junglers are farming up, trying to generate gold, trying to hit 6 before they make any big impacts.
And that's one thing that we talked about when we were mentioning this in a call a little bit earlier on in the week. Junglers right now, they can't hit that level 3 point and gank top lane as early as they want to, at level 3 versus level 1 fight. And also the jungle's been changed up a little bit where you can farm up a lot more. You can afford to use a jungler as a carry nowadays, and I wonder if we're going to see any junglers
down in the bottom lane. It looks like there's a fight.
Wow, you are more paying attention than I am.
Well, there was a fight, and it ended up with Vengeance picking up the kill. Long story short, Koala came in, landed a good cocoon, and...
It's not fair. You have directed camera on.
I know, but it is one of the advantages of being the color caster. I'll try to call that a little earlier next time.
Yeah, just so you guys know at home, it is me actually doing the camera work, and as you were maybe seen from the LCS promotion group stages yesterday, and well, not yesterday, but the 2 days before, not very good at it.
Well, it takes practice. Shasu's in trouble right now as playing is going to chase him down, but he's got no mana, so no leap strike to continue that one. One thing is, this has been a very even lane between this Renekton and Jackson. Every time we've watched it, they actually haven't been that aggressive in the one-on-ones. It's needed jungler interaction for them to try and battle each other out. We do see a big difference in item pickup already. Shasu's got that Giant's Belt as opposed to the Vampiric Scepter with that Plains back pocket.
Yeah, and they're both sitting on about 1,000 gold apiece too, and you can kind of see a little bit of a differential in builds, but Dose going in the middle here onto Lord, but even with the ultimate committed, he didn't have the backup from the rest of his team. Chris didn't get the ultimate down and wasn't able to lock him away, but still he has the ultimate available. They could go for a dive here if they want to. Yeah,
Shockwave didn't connect. We do see that Lord King Kevko does not have his Spirit Rush available, so Chris and Dose, they're just going to decide to dive onto this tower together. What Kevko's backed up in the bottom lane, there's a fight.
Scott getting pushed out yet again here. He's been hurting this entire time, and Apple Legend doing such a phenomenal job of keeping him out of this lane every single time possible. But right now, as you see on your screen, Dose was coming down the bottom lane, but in the meantime, you even see Koala on the other side going for something here. And in the top lane, we have a fight breaking out everywhere, but Shasu, who was so low on health, and the exchange we had earlier on takes down Playin.
Yeah, you can't you cannot discount the power that Dominus gives Renekton, the massive HP boost rather, as well as the damage over time that it gives you, just standing near him. So Playin just overestimating his damage potential. The one thing I do want to highlight is how good Fail Factory body blocked that Mystic shot in the bottom lane. Dose does not have Assault and Battery. He's going to decide to back away, but he's going to need a lot more attention and love from that Vi in this bottom lane if Scott Lowell's going to pull himself out of this deficit.
Yeah, this is what I'm thinking about towards late game, and you might be able to lend us a little bit of insight into it. Who's going to be more effective later on with you have a Lucian versus an Ezreal? Obviously, with Brokey getting this early farm advantage, he's going to be stronger earlier on in the game, but a Lucian late game versus an Ezreal late game, how's that really going to work?
So they actually have fairly similar sort of roles in that both of their ultimates are very good at wave clearing, very good at, zone control, as it were. And we do see another early dragon start to deal. Yeah, 10.5 minutes being picked up by Vengeance. I feel like Scott Lowell's Lucian should have the advantage when it comes to dueling and pure damage output. His passive and the ability to apply multiple, shots is absolutely immense. You can see that dragon was secured there by Vengeance's playing, and Shasu are just bashing it out. Shasu taking a lot of damage from that Sheen and Vamp Scepter of Jax, but he's going to sustain fairly well with Cold and Meek.
That's what's really cool, I think, to see, but we do have Dose actually come out towards this top side. He does have ultimate available. It looks like they might be able to pick up a kill on Playin here, and he's going to go in and play it. I'm not sure he's going to be able to escape this. He does have Flash, but I'm not going to escape a Vi right there as he does lock him down, and that's one thing I wanted to point out between the two top laners is you're seeing very different builds come out between them.
Yeah, one's very aggressive, very in your face. Talking about the builds and talking about the items, Playin had his trinket available. He had the option to put that ward down from his warding totem, and it wasn't there. He wasn't using it. So had he made use of his trinket, maybe he could have avoided being jumped on, but alas, that is hindsight being perfect 2020, and he gives up his second kill of the game, this time going, of course, to Shasu.
Yeah, and I think that's something that's going to take time to get used to for these players. Remember, 3.14 hasn't been out that long, and we saw how long it took teams to get adjusted to the Season 3 patch back last year. Remembering that you have a 3-minute timer on it, your ward only lasts a minute, you got to really make sure you're on top and on the ball right there. But right now, both these teams kind of playing very, very slow.
Yeah, I still forget to buy my trinket in many games. I still get used to it. Down the bottom lane, they've gone all in.
The Colleen's going to be enough to pick him up. They're going to chase down Brokey here. Can Scott pick up this kill? I'm not sure if he's going to have the damage or enough sustain to pretty much go up against him. But either way, with that little bit of a Zyra bait and with that Stranglethorns coming down, at least get one kill and they get Scott back in the game.
Yeah, great Stranglethorns there. Zoned them out. You see Dose now picking a fight with Koala.
He's picking a fight against a Spider here. He does have Chris to back him up, but so is Lord here with the Ahri ultimate available, but they're not going to commit for it just yet. The Orianna ultimate coming out. It pulls Koala back in, but gets him so low. He's not down. But Dose with the Q lands it onto him, picks up the kill. Chris has no mana now, though, and Lord, he doesn't have his ultimate available, but he does have Flash, and Chris is just attacking away with these autos and the ball and the Flash in. It's going to be enough. And ESC turned that around, which looked really bleak for him. They at least pick up 2 kills for 1 death. 2 for 1, and if Fail Factory sticks around, they can get a lot of damage down onto this tower. At the same time, Scottlol is pushing down in the bottom lane, so those 2 fights back-to-back is going to translate into a lot of tower damage and map pressure here in favor of ESC Icybox. So a great play, and crazy props to Chris there, just sticking to Lord Kevko, using that passive of his to continue dealing damage and manage to secure that kill. That Orianna passive, it really goes underestimated sometimes, just how much damage it can really do when you get those clockwork wind-up stacks.
Yep.
Yeah.
And of course it stacks as well, so if you keep hitting the same target, it does get a little bit higher up to a cap, so managed to chase him down. Now Scottlol, he's stuck around a little too much, full mana, and there should be a kill.
Oh, Edge ulti coming out. Will it be enough? Nope. Actually dodges away from it. Did have Barrier, did have Flash available though, but in the meantime, we did miss a kill top lane. And Shasu, he's making his mark on this lane against Play, and he's been able to kill him yet again. And now he's actually looking for a Koala here. He doesn't have Dominus available just yet. He does have Flash, but look at the damage. Look at the sustain he's able to pull off with his Q.
Yeah, well played there. Sliced over the wall, saved his Flash, so if he needed to, he could have flashed over the Baron Pit. But he managed to at least get out cleanly. And that's a Renekton that's 1v1ing a Jax. Now all of a sudden there's a 20 CS difference. And the difference in builds, that sort of tankiness with the ability to deal damage from your abilities is working in favor of Shasu as opposed to playing.
Doing damage from abilities exactly
as your abilities were intended.
Yeah, it's definitely an intended mechanic within the game League of Legends.
Here comes Dose in mid.
He's going for a gank, and Lord actually uses ultimate with the shockwave, does some good damage to him, but he's able to escape with his Spirit Rush, and that is just the strength of having an Ahri.
Yeah, and Lord Kevko actually used his DFG while Vi was low on HP. Maybe should have thrown that out the moment he came in. Could have opted to get a bit more damage from Spirit Rush, but another gank not really working out in favor of Dose. It's very difficult to lock down an Ahri with her ultimate. 3 charges of Spirit Rush, even though you've seen they got it down for a second or 2, there's just not enough burst there with that Athenes to insta-gib Lord Kevko's Ahri, so he gets out cleanly.
Yeah, and that's, I think, we've always seen Ahri actually used as a pick to kind of counter an Orianna. Then we kind of saw Ziggs come to life. Kind of, I don't know, well, not out of nowhere, obviously did get buffed up a little bit, but right now it's 6-3 in kills in favor of ESC, but the goal difference is only 300 at this point because of the Dragon we saw come down a little bit earlier on. And I want you to walk us through, you talked about a little bit about it in the picks and bans, but what do we see happening when these fights do break out? Like, what's the key person to watch of both these teams?
Okay, so start with Vengeance, because they're the guys that are coming from behind. They're the ones that need to find picks. And it's going to be very reliant on an Annie engage or a Cocoon or a Charm landing. I mean, Jax can throw himself in there, but he's already 0-3. He's not going to offer a lot in the way of initiation, so you really need to make sure that Ahri or Elise lock people down.
If I'm not mistaken, is Jax more of a follow-up engage with an Annie?
He needs to clean up. I mean, he needs to clean up. That's the whole point. You get somebody low enough that when Jax jumps in, he can then start finishing the fights. Now, after the Annie stun wears off, you want the Counter-Strike to lock them up, and you want Jax to get those last hits. We do see Dose hanging out on the side, and when he starts to charge that Vault Breaker, somebody's going to get hit in the head real bad.
And his ultimate will be up very shortly too, and right now, Vengeance, they don't know he's there. And I'm pretty sure ESC knows this as well, and Apple, he's pushing up a little bit too far. Maybe if Dose has the ultimate available, we do see him have it available now. He's going to be going in.
Yeah, definitely. Vault Breaker's going to be thrown out. Oh, he's letting it time. Okay, we need to keep eyes on the rest of the map in case this fizzles. It fizzles! Come on, Dose, you spent a minute here.
No, he's committed for it. He's going to go in with the Vault Breaker. Well, who's going to actually land the ultimate on? Is he going to go for Apple, get the easy kill? Yes, he does go straight for him, but the flash is enough to get Apple out of positioning, but the ultimate coming out of Zyra, not actually going to knock anyone up, and the Cologne and Dose taking the turret up, going to get them so low on health, but not enough to pick up a kill just yet, and they might even be able to turn this around.
Apple is a legend. He managed to flash out of that assault already. Now Chris is in trouble in mid.
Cocoon does miss though, and he actually almost took down Lord Kevko with him, by himself, but the charm does land, and that will be enough to pick him up. And Dose was in hot pursuit coming up from bottom lane, but he's just going to be there a little bit too late.
Yeah, and Kevko, with that blue buff, going to be able to at least do that again in the next couple of minutes. They secure themselves a kill. The first tower to fall is in favor of ESC, and thanks to the numbers advantage they've got in this bottom lane, it's going to allow them to move over to Dragon. This would actually be their first Dragon, but the second of this matchup. And the value of Dragon goes up as the average champion level goes up as well. We do see Koala in a bit of trouble, and he should be able to get out.
Yeah, we do see right now in that top side, Shasu proxy farming. And I know there were some changes to how this kind of works when you do proxy farm, but it was more aimed towards solo queue, if I'm not mistaken. Can you just kind of briefly walk us over that?
Okay, so what you're getting at is the reduction in death count value. We'll talk about this as death count may go up. Playing gets stunned there by Shasu.
Actually, I'm not sure if he's going to go for the dive into the turret. He does have Dominus available. He does have that Sunfire Cape, but that turret is very low on life. But playing, all he has to do is just stand near that Renekton when he's trying to go for the turret. We'll proc that Sunfire Cape and we'll proc the turret on top of him, but it looks like they're just going to back away.
Yeah, going to be able to get out cleanly. And what you were trying to talk about is the fact that when you've got these sort of proxy farmers, you know, like Sims would be the primary culprit. If they've got a very high death count, 03, 04, 05, it becomes non-effectual to actually kill them because they're not worth anything. If, however, they've picked up like over 1,000 gold worth of minion farm, their effective value does go up. So if you're sitting there and you're 0-12 in solo queue, but you're like, it's okay guys, I'm farming, I'm fine, you're actually still going to be worth money and worth the investment of time to kill. You do see that right now, Shasu gets out cleanly, was pushing that wave, almost ran himself into Koala. But he does get away. And again, ESC, in the mid-game, 20 minutes, they're in control. They've got higher kills, they've got the most recent dragon, they've got 2 towers as opposed to 1, and they're the ones that are determining the pace of this game right now.
As you were saying before, we did have very early on in that first game, both these teams pushed the outer lanes into the inner turrets, and they kind of didn't know where to go from there. But right now, ESC with the last remaining outer turret, looks like they want to be able to pick this one up. They're going to be able to get it here. And Brokey, he's in the bottom lane farming away.
Yeah, it's a lot more coordinated pressure here, I think, from ESC is the best way to phrase it. Every time they've picked a fight, they've translated those fights into objective kills, and it's working in their favor. The one thing that we are noticing is all of Vengeance's vision is in this bottom half of the map, and thanks to that mid tower going down, you've now got this ring of blue wards in the entrances and exits to this blue buff area. So we may actually see ESC try to challenge for this next blue buff, thanks to the vision control that they've just afforded themselves.
And we know how important a blue buff is for an Ahri. You need that cooldown reduction, you need that mana regen. If you want to be really doing a lot in these fights, but taking a look at items so far as we're 20 minutes in, finally hitting that mark. We do have quite a few big items picked up for ESC side, where over on Vengeance, they're still like really not completing this first major item, at least in that top side.
Yeah, the top lane's very big difference. I mean, you've got Sunfire Cape as well as that Spirit Visage versus 2 components of a Triforce and a Vamp Scepter. On the other side of the coin, however, you do have Brokey sitting with his completed Triforce, a pickaxe, as well as that longsword. So he's got a higher burst damage than that of his opponent. But you can see Vengeance, along with Brokey and Apple Legend, they're waiting for ESC to push up and push this lane. But it's not going to happen. ESC have been wise enough to back off.
And over the past couple of days, we've seen... Well, actually, we do see right now Fail Factory going in. They does land the Grass Moods on an Apple, but they're not able to pretty much back that one up. We just see Ultra actually come out of Dose here onto the Elise. Koala actually going to repel up. He might be able to go over to this blue buff. No, he actually just dropped straight down flashes over the wall. And like you said before, it looks like they want to control this blue buff. They want to take it away, but Vengeance isn't letting it happen. The Shockwave hitting 3 members on Vengeance, and then the Stranglethorn's able to zone them out. Ahri getting caught right there. As you see Dose come back in onto Apple. He's going to drop. Scott's going to pick that one up. And they're looking for a second kill onto Elise. They're going to get the Dobus. He has the bear. He's staying alive and even flashes away. And now Brokey here trying to take down Dose, trying to take down Fail Factory. He can't possibly do it. He does have red buff, but don't forget about Lord. Don't forget about Shasu, who came down from that top side with the Ignite. Gonna pick that one up. And in the end, from all of that, from that blue buff take that you called a little bit earlier on, it's a 3-for-1 in favor of ESC.
Yeah, during every single step of that, ESC were ahead of the curve. This all started from that bottom lane fight. ESC got a kill. Mid lane fight. ESC got a kill. They got towers, they got vision control, and then they pushed it. The moment blue spawned, Scott Lol was not anticipating jumping on his head, then gives away the blue buff. It was actually interesting, Scott Lol got the last hit in that blue as well, over the jungler's smites who were involved in the engagement.
Well, you can tell from that shoddy camera work right there that I wasn't expecting that flash to come in either. So very well done. He picks up a kill and does finally get his first one of this match here. But with that Triforce done, he's going to start becoming a threat. We see actually an early... Talisman picked up as Shasu does get caught with the Charm and the Cocoon. This is what we talked about earlier on. If they hit one person with all their CC, there's no way they're going to escape. Shasu's going to fall, most likely, but Fail Factory with the Flash and the Grass Moods doesn't save him in time, and now he's in trouble. He's forced to run away. But Vengeance picking up that kill. Oh, Chris! Damn!
That was massive. It's not over yet. Did you see Brokey carries on chasing? They're under the tower.
Wow, play it. We talked about Jax a little bit early on. Once he gets those core items done, and Basically right now, all you need is that Triforce. He can be so hard to deal with. Him and Brokey pick that one up. And just like that, they pick up 2 kills.
And demonstrating the power of Jax cleaning up. After that massive fight to blue buff, you see Jax coming in after the engagement. Scott stuck around way too long, gave up a kill. He also gave up a killing spree bonus as well, which gave a massive chunk of change over to playing. Now, with the numbers advantage, ESC are going to try put some damage on this tower here. You do see a BF sword in Scott back pocket, so he's going to get some damage down, but a little bit afraid of that Tibbers engage, which can come down from the legend that is Apple's Annie.
And this is what you called earlier, though. For ESC side, when they make a fight happen somewhere, they're always trying to capitalize off it, always trying to push some turrets down. And even though they lost someone right there in the form of Shasu, they still have the health advantage, they still have the mana advantage, and got some damage onto that turret. So very well called on your part. And right now, Vengeance doing the same thing back to them, looking for the first turret down in the middle of the game for themselves. The Cocoon gonna land on a fail factory, but no one in a position to back them up. And right now, they're actually going for a little bit of a cheeky swing around.
So this is a problem here for Vengeance. Vengeance cannot pick fights under towers, and they don't want to siege because they don't really have tower divers. Yeah, Elise can get out if she wants to, but this is a much better place to fight if you're Vengeance. Shasu, however, does have dominance, and there they go.
Oh, Ultimate going straight onto Brokey the backside, but the Orion Ultimate actually misses right here. As you see the String of Thorns pop up 2 or 3 people on Vengeance side, but they're cleaning them up one by one in the backside while the tanky members of ESC are chasing down this Ezreal who's just so slippery. They cannot get to him, and Vengeance are winning this fight hands down. As Shasu, though, very tanky, still surviving right now, looking for a kill now on a Koala, and he has so many targets to look for, he just can't get any of them, and he's forced to run away.
Yeah, there's nothing that he can do. He's going to get shut down here. That's going to be an almost ace, as we do see Dose actually gets out alive. And long story short, ESC cannot stick to targets well enough if they split up. Vengeance was in perfect zone. They've got a lot more mobility with Jax, Elise, Ezreal. I mean, 4 out of their 5 members have got some form of mobility spell. And if ESC don't instantly lock somebody down and kill them, you're not going to fight well in those open environments. ESC once fights in jungles, in tight, close spaces. Vengeance once fights in open, aired out locations.
Yeah, definitely aired out. That is definitely important when it comes to the summoner stuff. You got to make sure there's a lot of air around there. But we talked about the supports items a little bit earlier on and what they went for their GP10. I want you to walk us through what you see happening right now, because we have very different builds coming in from both sides for what's needed for the team.
So again, you're talking about initiation power. The only really solid initiation that comes up for Vengeance is from that Annie Flash Tibbers. You've got skill shots that can land, but those are slightly more reactionary. And the whole point that you're seeing with Apple Legend, with the fact that he's got 2 kills and assists, he's finished that Talisman of Ascension, he's got the ability to run in. Yes, I got the name first time. He's picked himself up that Aegis of the Legion as well. We'll most likely see that actually transitioning to a Locket of the Iron Solari so that you can survive the burst damage that comes from Orianna. And if you survive the burst, then Vengeance can just re-engage, use their higher mobility and their higher single target burst to shut down their opponent.
Look what's happening on the minimap right now. We see ESC, they might get sandwiched in here. We do have Koala coming in from the backside.
I don't like these engages. I've never liked them, and this is not an Evelyn engage. A single Cocoon just puts Koala on the wrong side of the river, and as we talked about, he's just going to get now surrounded, but he gets out with the repel.
And he dodges the grassy roots as well on top of that, and his Houseman Ascension coming out as Appleguard gets caught with the ultimate. He's not going to be able to force the engage that he wants to make happen. Brokey looking for some damage on a Shasu, but he doesn't have it just yet, enough to burst him down. But Vengeance, though, committing the Orianna ultimate and the Vi ultimate, they're going to go for a push.
Yeah, they're in trouble now. The stun's going to catch out Zyra.
And that Jax going straight into the backside, pushing the support away, forcing the String of Thorn to be used defensively, with the Cologne coming down, not really doing any damage so far. And right now, Vengeance have picked up 1 kill, but look how low they are. Scott can maybe clean up if he can get the aggression, if he can push into this, and Dose and Scott are trying to do it.
He manages to repel away to the race, and here's the Annie Tibbers.
Oh, but Play coming back in, as you were saying, going for the cleanup crew here. He's very low on life, but he does get 1 kill. They do back out, and they do survive this without losing any casualties.
Koala on a hut is a legend. He got out of both of those engages when he didn't deserve to. He was completely caught in the river, turned that one around, and allowed Vengeance to pick up 2 kills back-to-back. I feel like that could have gone even better for them if playing had stuck to the team as opposed to trying to chase down Zyra, because he ran away. His counter-strike, his follow-up counter-strike wasn't there to lock down his opponents. But we do see ESC, they've jumped on the tower, and here comes Brookie from the side.
Yeah, he's got to be very careful. We know how strong Chris is right now. He has that Rabadon's Death Cap, he has it on Themes of Holy Grail. He's sitting on 344 AP to boot, and we've seen him burst people down before. But right now, 14-10 here.
Yeah, so the whole tempo has not changed. ESC had the early game under control, and in the mid game, Vengeance have been able to put together a couple of good team fights that have strung them that dragon earlier on, got them that mid lane tower, and they seem to be less afraid of actually picking these fights and picking these engagements. ESC, on the other hand, they haven't made an engage on their terms. You know, they tried to chase down once or twice, and it didn't work out. And we see them once again, Shasu trying to jump in. They managed to almost stun Elise, but she gets away with the repel, and now they chase her down.
Now where's she going to repel to as the Cologne comes out with the Ignite, able to pick it up. Chris gets that one, and they might have been able to secure a turret here, because right now, look at the minimap. Brokey, he is in their own base, nowhere to be found to help out with this little bit of a push.
Yeah, we do see the minions have been wiped out very, very quickly, thanks to having that Ari there, as well as, you know, once they group up, the anti-disintegrate's going to help a whole lot as well. You see them try now, shoving down this tower. This is a 5-on-4. Stranglethorns, Dominus, and Shockwave are available, so keep that in mind if a fight breaks out.
Oh, there's that Stranglethorn. It's going to be perfectly positioned right there. And the Orion ultimate coming in. The Talisman Ascension wasn't enough to get them away, and they pick up one more kill. They pick up a turret, and I don't think they're done just yet. They're going to continue pushing.
Yeah, they've still got the numbers advantage, but now the ultimates are not there to back them up. So wisely, they decide to back away. We do see the blue buff has some wards here, but this is from BCE's side. So I would imagine ESC would want to use their trinkets. Again, you see Chris has backed away, not used his trinket. Scott will not use his trinket yet. And this is something that I'm finding interesting, deciding when to use those vision wards. Fail Factory may just fail, and he's just going to produce a Factory of Death. Yeah, that was weak. That was very weak.
This is your first cast on 314. I think it's allowed. But right now, and I want to point something out between the war trinkets, as we do see Koala trying to come into the backside on a dose. Actually makes him use the flash. That might give him an advantage as we get into the fights a little bit later on. But we do have an extra sweeping lens picked up for ESC side, and still yet one to be seen on Vengeance.
Vengeance didn't use a single sweeping lens in the previous game. I still feel like both of these teams are maybe not utilizing the lenses quite as often as they'd want, as I think they should be, but it could also be reactionary. You tend to use those wards when you want to, you know, challenge for objectives or set up defensive lines. And as it stands right now, you can see they're moving forward, and that trinket was just put over the wall there. So if Vengeance want to come from behind, ESC are going to be aware of it. Dose may find himself in the middle of 5, but position gives away and he gets that cleanly.
That could have been very dangerous for them. They could have lost an inhibitor turret, maybe even more off of that. But right now, Dragon up in 10 seconds. Looks like Vengeance is setting up for it here, as they do have the vision control, the complete vision control of it, but they don't have any sweeping lenses still.
Yeah, very important here for Vengeance. The top lane is a massive wave of minions pushing the tower. So Vengeance are actually winning on 2 fronts right now if they can keep ESC busy.
They're actually just going to ditch Dragon. They're going to go straight for a mid push here. And ESC, they're not even going to respond to it. They're not going to even try to stop this.
That's going to be a lot of gold being traded. I feel like Vengeance will come out in a better position, because denying the vision and control tower gives you is going to be great. ESC will look to pick a fight. The way they've been playing, they will come in from behind if Vengeance stick around long enough.
And Vengeance, they're able to catch him in a really awkward position, but smartly enough, actually, I'll give them credit for this one. They back away. They go straight for that top turret, as they do get that one in the help of, or with the help of the minions. And in the end, gain 2 turrets for 1 dragon. Not a bad trade.
Well, I would have given them a big naughty badge if they'd gone for the inner top lane turrets, because they basically were all there as the top lane outer turret went down. And you can see now, they're just riding this massive wave of minions. They did, however, lose Dragon, so keep this in mind. They picked up 2 towers. This is going to be 3 towers in response for Dragon. They've managed to stop it, and they picked the fight.
Oh, Dose gets stopped. We're going to use the ult with the Orion ulti coming in and does some good damage. And Lucien gets the shutdown over onto Jackson. Koala going to be forced to repel back into the team of ESC. He's going to drop momentarily here, but the rest of Vengeance trying to pick a fight, still trying to shut them down. So Camera gets worse and worse as this fight is going on. Even Apple, the legend that he is, being chased down by Shasu, and he's going to get ignited. He's going to drop. But look at, as we see Brokey in the backside, picks up the kill in a fail factory. They actually might be able to continue this. If you see a charm land, these 2 people on Vengeance's side could pick up some more kills.
3 for 1. Overall, still a win for Vengeance. Even though they lost that team fight, they got 2 towers out of it, and they got a lot of control of this top half of the map. It's not over yet, as Brokey actually wants to pick a fight with the backup of Lord Kevko. The one thing that ESC did very, very well in that previous fight, they locked down and shut out Jax very quickly. Jax only has some additional HP really from that Giant's Belt and the Ruby Crystal. He's not super tanky, so he does go down if you focus him. And he's the cleanup crew. So if you get rid of him, the fight is going to be monumentally easier to win as if you're ESC Icebox.
I don't know how about you, or how you feel about this. Well, we both can't English today. I feel like Vengeance hasn't been using their composition the way it's been made for.
They're afraid of sieging. This is the problem. This is the problem. Every time they've grouped up in a 5v5 situation, ESC's dived them. And every single time that they're looking down the barrel at one another, Vi's gone in and Renekton's gone in. And Vengeance have been able to kite and dance around that actually very well, in my mind. But I don't think they're confident enough to play that every single time, because as you've seen in that previous fight very, very recently, if they do lose Jax quickly, if Elise doesn't have a camp to, repel away to, they've got no escape routes, and they do end up losing the engage.
Do you think a Caitlyn actually might have been a smarter pick as an AD carry to siege down turrets, or do you think just the whole Vi Renekton combo is really making that impossible at this point?
I still feel like Ezreal's a good choice as Shasu gets caught by the Cocoon here.
He's actually going to stick around for quite a while. Fairfax coming in. Apple coming in from the side does have the stun available, but only going to be hitting one here, and Vengeance have to be very careful because they don't have the rest of their members here to defend against this. And
to defend the Ezreal pick in this composition, you've got 4 champions with mobility spells and an Annie that will most likely see go Distortion Boots in the not too distant future. So, they really want to dance around. They really want to kite, focus the right targets, and then engage as a 5-man. Caitlyn is a little less safe than an Ezreal. Doesn't have a 90 caliber net up as often as that Arcane Shift ever, really. And we do see once again they're stuck together as 5v5. Dominus was used thanks to Shasu being caught, so please remember that if a fight breaks out in the next sort of minute or so. And as it stands, 5v5, they're staring down the barrel. Vengeance feeling confident enough to pick this fight. Shockwave catches Lord!
Wow, he's able to actually Spirit Rush away, stay alive, but Doe's going to be able to pick up that kill right there, and now playing, he's trying to pick up some kills, going straight for Doe's, but he has to back out. And Koala, he's not being touched at all, and they know who they want. They want to kill this Jax, they're just not able to get to him just yet. And we do see Scott, he even flashes over the wall, but playing flashes out of it. And now Baron, a very likely possibility. However, Brokey, he's sticking around. He can harass them quite well. You even have Koala there to do some damage. And I'm not sure if this is a smart play out of ESC.
Yeah, Dose is so incredibly low. So if they want to go for Baron, their Smite carrying champion is on low HP. Tibbers is still alive and he's going to run interference here. We do have Dominus coming up. Scott Lol, he's picked the fight with Brokey. Piercing Light comes down. Can't get the passive though. And you see everybody from ESC, they split decision. They're not on the same page here. They're not following one train of thought, and everyone's just running around trying to do something without focusing on a single objective.
And can you believe from all of that, we only saw 1 kill go down, and that was Lord Kev as he got blown up. I mean, that was a good call by Chris. He only hit one person with the Arnott ultimate, but it did enough damage that Dose could just go in and solo him 1v1 throughout the end.
Yeah, I'm not entirely convinced it's the best use of Shockwave, but it stops the pressure. It gets, Vengeance off your case, gets him out of your lane, and they got a kill on one of the most important members of Vengeance, one of those high damage dealers. So overall, it works out for them, but Chris is really going to need to get good 3- and 4-man ultimates at least if they want to clean up in a more efficient manner because of how difficult it is to lock down Vengeance.
Right now, we're about 36 minutes in. It's actually tied in kills, 16-16, and being 36 minutes in, the goal difference isn't that big either.
No, 4 towers to 4. I think we've seen an equal number of dragons. If memory serves me, it's 2 dragons apiece, with dragon coming up in about 40-odd seconds, as you can see on the timer. We may actually see another fight here, unless ESC feels Vengeance is going to go for dragon, we'll ward around Baron, and we'll pick the fight on our vision terms. Because if you look at the vision game, there's nothing at Dragon for either team, and ESC is definitely setting up that ring of sight around the Baron pit.
Well, here you go. We do have both top laners actually down at bottom. They aren't going to be here for the fight. What team does this benefit? Having Renekton there versus not having him, and as well as Jax?
I actually feel this is better for Vengeance because the hard engage and the hard CC is a little bit scarier on their side. Unless Zyra locks people up, it's definitely going to work in favor of that Cocoon and the Charm and the Annie. As you can see right there, ESC tried to pick a fight. They tried to get Zyra to lock people up, and it just didn't work.
Oh, wow, they're actually not going to be going for him. They're actually going for Dragon right now, which is a little bit confusing. I didn't expect that to happen, and he's going to go for the turret. It's already down about 3/4 life, but Dragon has been slain, and you can see no one's really coming down to defend against this.
Yeah, Chris may get caught up by 3 there. He manages to flash away, and he has the fight.
Oh, Cocoon lands, and Cocoon is enough to kill him up right there, as we do see. Actually, Doe's go for the flash. He's looking for someone with the ultimate. Uses it onto Koala, gets him pretty low here, but the Ezreal ulti coming in doesn't really do that much damage, and right now, Vegeta's being forced to run away. Doe's very low in health. He backs out. Scott picks up the kill on the Koala. It looks like that will be the end of the fight here. In the meantime, we still see Play and pushing bottom, and With that Blade of the Rune King, he's used it to just stay sustained here the entire time.
Yeah, they traded 1-for-1 in that fight, but I think that ESC needs to pick better team engages. You see Shasu, he's losing out in this duel here to Plane. Plane's going to dive.
Well, Plane does have the Ignite. He's going to be using it here. He's going to be backing out. We did see a kill go down in middle, or we didn't see a kill go down in middle, but it was onto the support. But Shasu, Dose, both so low on health, and Vengeance, they go for a push on this turret.
Yeah, you know, ESC, they don't have the same skirmish power that Vengeance has. They don't have that insta-give potential. Shockwave is too valuable to just throw out at a moment's notice, whereas charms and cocoons and stuns from Annie, they come out very, very quickly. So ESC is almost always going to lose those types of engagements because they've got, you know, 3 sort of very squishy champions that can get popped very quickly. And Vengeance all of a sudden have grabbed the reins in this matchup. They're all 1 down in the series and looking very, very strong here in the mid game.
Oh, wow. Right now, we do see ESC going for a Baron as Brokey there just trying to let them know that, hey guys, I'm here, you should back away from it. But right now, Apple coming in from the side looking for a stun, but the shots are there to stop him. He's pretty much just zoning them out with himself. Baron very low in health. So
Baron's down to 3,000. We should see ESC pick this one up, but Vengeance want to close this up. Oh, Koala's gone in. Koala's got it.
He's got the steal, but the Order ultimate comes out and gets them so low on health. They're being forced to run away, but they're committed to this fight with that Baron buff, with the regen. We see Shasa go into the backside, but not before double kills picked up by Lord. And Playin has even come up from the bottom side. Chris is going to get very low. He's going to drop. And Fail Factory, the last man standing in the end of this giant engage. I'm not sure he's going to be meant for this world.
No, he's going to get dropped down. Cocoon lands and that's it. He's going to get taken out. I cannot believe ESC's decision-making. 4 of the members peeled away from Baron because they were afraid of the engage. They were afraid of going down. It only left Dose in a one-on-one smite fight with Koala, and he lost it.
And how do you go into a smite fight against an Elise who has percentage damage the lower something is? So you combine that with the smite, you're pretty much always guaranteed to get that.
I really feel like in this last 15 minutes of gameplay, ESC is not working together as a unit. They're not focusing the same objectives, and it kind of feels like the players were afraid of a fight, so they were peeling away out of that pit. And as they were peeling away from it, Dose is like, guys, Baron's still here, bro. Like, help, please. And they ended up losing it, so it just didn't work in their favor. And now Vengeance, they've only got Baron and 2 members, but very, very crucially, the super minions are now pushing down this middle lane. And just remember, one of the changes on 3.1 ports, it's not something we talk about, but the other lanes, top and bottom now, it is still standard HP, still standard strength minions. It is one of the changes that's been modified for this one, so you don't instantly win the map by winning 1 inhibitor.
Did not know that. Today I learned right there, and it seems like the story for ESC this entire game has been miscommunication or not committing to one decision on their own, or, you know, as a team.
Yeah.
Like you said before, we've had so many incidents in this game where ESC 2 or 3 members go for something. You know, we saw actually them go for Baron a little bit earlier on, and they didn't know if they wanted to fight Vengeance or back away. And you know, ESC, they got to do something about this. They obviously did take the first game, as you mentioned, but they're about to lose the second one against Vengeance with that inhibitor being down. And for the first time, Vengeance getting a nice little bit of a gold lead here. But let's talk about items for a little bit, since we're going to have, I think, a little bit of a lull in the game, because we see people approaching, you know, that 4-5 item build.
I think we're getting closer to the 5-6 item build, if I'm going to be very honest. Massive tank from Renekton. I mean, you know, we're not seeing anything too spectacular, outrageous. He's got that Randian's Omen built in there. We do see over in the side of, you know, the AD carries, Bloodthirster Trinity Force on the side of Scott Loll, as well as that Last Whisper, and he's already got that Spectre's Cowl, so working himself up for some magic resistance against the heavy magic burst damage of Vengeance, and I really like that pickup. I'd like to see how Brokey decides to, you know, level up this Negatron Cloak, what route he's going to go. We'll talk about the supports in a second, as you see Vengeance still got Baron and 2 of their members.
Look what they're
looking
doing.
For a fight.
Look what they're doing. They're leaving Plan to just split push himself. Who can go 1v1 against him? And it's already been proven that no one can really do that. Shasu was pushed out lower. He's going to shove that lane in every single time that forces someone to back away for it. And this might give Vengeance the opportunity to go for a fight.
The one thing that I do like about ESC's 4v4 chances here under a tower is that this lane and this choke point to the right of the lane is a little bit narrower. So the strength of Vi and Orianna goes up in the narrower corridors. As long as VSC are standing toe-to-toe, ESC can catch them out. However, if, you know, ESC Icybox are chasing Vengeance up the lane, and while Vengeance are retreating, they land their CC and damage, that's when it's going to benefit the red team. And you see that Little web going out, not managing to catch anybody just yet.
And they're looking for that Cocoon right there, but we do see they're getting back away from the turret. We're going to see Vengeance pick that one up. The ultimate coming out of Orion, and the flash stun Tibbers out of Apple is enough to actually force them back. But Dose going deep, too deep actually, in fact, as Lord is able to pick that kill up. And now the rest of ESC being forced to run away, as you do see playing going head-to-head against Shasu. He forces him back down below half-life, and if anything, we're going to see another inhibitor fall.
Yeah, that's definitely the case. Vengeance right now have got a numbers advantage on this top tower. They don't necessarily have minions to work with, but they've got such beefy, tanky minions, members. Talma goes down. Now they're going to focus the inhibitors. You see Koala gets chunked low, but he's not dead, and that's what matters.
And Shasu with those home guard birds looking to go in. Actually, they do back away without getting the inhibitor down. Not really fancying their chances, and I'd say that's a smart play overall because Koala doesn't have Baron buff anymore. Very low on life. He's going to be forced to go back and buy, but speaking of going back and buying, look at the money they have to spend, Trevor.
Yeah, that's a big amount of cash to put in their back pockets. You know, we talked about some of the support changes, and look at the items here. 43 minutes in, you've got that Mikhail's Crucible, as well as what actually just looked like home guard boots that were picked up instantly. I swear Feral Factory didn't have them a second go. Anyways, doesn't matter. Over on the side of Apple Legend, he's got that Leona's Locket of the Iron Solari, Talisman of Ascension. He's also got himself that, you know, on-hit heal cleanse. It's not necessarily as powerful because, you know, there's a root from Zyra and a stun from Renekton, but it's definitely going to give a big chunk of HP to whoever's on the front line, whoever's fighting, and gives Annie even more utility to offer in these team fights. Dragon's up, and at this stage in the game, that is a massive amount of money. Once all the champions are above level 15, it's 1,300 gold to be split across your 5 members.
And keep in mind, Baron's only 1,500. So definitely a lot of money, but right now ESC going for a push down the middle here, and they do see playing. He's down, you know, towards bottom. We did see Koala actually get caught out by Scott LOL a little bit earlier on, and ESC, I mean, maybe they're fancying the chances. The Baron buff has faded away from Vengeance.
But they're not together. Like, they're running down as a 3-man. You had Renekton in the jungle, you had Lucian coming from spawn. Their inhibitor has respawned, so they're getting rid of the last minions to push down that wave. But again, similar thing. They were like, push mid, push mid, push mid. Bro, there's only 3 of us here. Where's the rest of the team? Now they have grouped up. You can see Baron's going to be up in a minute. Vi's going to go double check Dragon, make sure that they reset the vision and know that it's not available. But all of the vision here for Vengeance on the bottom half of the map, it favors them. So ESC need to look for an opportunity, which is going to be made a little bit more difficult thanks to those wards that are laying around.
Do you think we're going to see the next major engagement break out over towards Baron because of the timer on it, or is ESC looking for a fight here on this inhibitor turret?
ESC doesn't want to fight in the river or in any of those open spaces because they've lost every single time. So ESC needs to pick a fight basically where Jax is right now to the top of the screen, in the jungle area, in these confined spaces, and they need to hit a good shockwave. The Mare Wave is not going to do it for them.
As you see right now, both these teams very hesitant to go for an engage. And remember, 45.5 minutes in, when you die, you're dead for about 70 seconds, and anything can really happen in that amount of time. So you see the sweeping lens yet again used here. And Vengeance side, they didn't go for any, but we do see, and I'm going to mouse over this, the Greater Vision Totem picked up for Apple.
We'll see how it works out for them. As it stands, he's sitting on the back foot. You can see playing, still hanging out. He stood right on top of a ward, though, so ESC are aware of it. They've caught Shasu. It's not the target they want. And once Command Protect is thrown on top of Renekton, that BDS has the opportunity to get in there and wreck the back line.
I don't remember who coined that term anymore. It was a long time ago.
So BDS is I'm not sure.
I think BDS was me. The
I think
ball
you did
delivery
BDS,
system was you.
Yes. I think so, but it's a standard term now. You know, that's what we talk about. But you see Brokey, he's hanging out on the sidelines. Got to be a bit careful. But you see, he's not afraid of CC. There's no skill shot CC outside of Zyra, which you have a bit of warning time to come in. So Brokey can afford to play very aggressively with his positioning. You know, getting in the faces there does actually get caught out.
Yeah, speaking of being aggressive right there, you saw him just pretty much right in the face of Shasu. And I think one thing that might be underutilized by ESC side is that Orianna Ball and that zoning potential, because it does so much damage right now. I think they might have the ability to siege on this turret, and we do see right now playing backing out.
So one thing that's playing into ESC's favor right now, look at the minion waves. On the bottom, there's a very, very big wave pushing up with, I think, 2 cannon minions there. That's about to make its way to the inner turret. If ESC Icy Box can keep Vengeance in this mid lane, they can allow the minions to do the work for them. But playing on Jax has now got his Guardian Angel completed, along with his Randian's Omen, and 1,000,000 tons of damage, and he wants to pick a fight.
You see, they're trying to back away, but you said before, in the picks and bans, they have great disengage, and they're just kiting Vengeance away, while the bottom lane, like you said before, the minions just doing straight damage to that turret. Edge ulti going to come through, going to clean out like 2 of them. not as much as they were hoping for, not as much as I was expecting, to be honest. But right now, Vengeance, they have to make a play. The inhibitor not being down anymore, they're kind of stuck to make the move.
Dose was caught out, but nobody else from Vengeance was able to jump onto Dose's Vi. Just looking for that opportunity. The person you're going to keep your eyes on here is most likely going to be Apple Legends Annie. He's got those boots of mobility, does have a Tibbers stun available if he wants to go that route.
And he really wants to play.
The odd charm or, you know, cocoon could also be a case if you catch a squishy target. But with a couple Banshees Veils and sort of Vine Redictum being in the front line, I'm not expecting Vengeance to jump on that very tanky. And there you go, Minions have done the work. Minions have picked up the 5th tower for ESC just because ESC has kept Vengeance in his mid lane.
Right now, Vengeance looking for a cocoon, and they keep trying to hit the tanky members of ESC to poke them down, but it really makes me think that those are not exactly who they want to hit. But
he needed to shockwave.
That's the damage we're talking about, Chris, and that's what I was mentioning earlier, why he's not used that to zone a little bit more here. But we do see Vengeance now being forced to back away. It's kind of like a tug-of-war right now.
That could have been the moment. Those were the initiating members, Elise and Annie. If a shockwave had caught them out, it would have forced everyone else in the back foot. But it's not the case. They've got a bit of damage down, put a little bit of fear in the sides of Vengeance, and Icy Box still, they're just dancing. They're just tiptoeing around. It's like a ballroom dance right now.
Oh, no. With him going back, with Shasu dropping, that actually might be the key to engage. Vengeance missing the cocoon, not missing. It's getting flashed down. The shockwave coming out only hits Apple. He hasn't used his stun just yet. As you see, Lord gets the kill. If the help, actually, Roki gets the kill. Oh, I'm all over the back. They're everywhere with the camera. But they do pick up 1 kill. We do see Chris respond with the kill back onto Apple and play, and he's just taking them up with that Guardian Angel, while the backline of ESC, or the front line in the backline of Vengeance, is just dropping. And Brokey, he's able to survive. He's able to get out, and just like that, 2 kills come in. But Shasu, he's looking for more.
Yeah, all the lines are mixed up in each other. Now Shasu's caught Koala.
Oh, he's going to repel right back into a crocodile, or alligator. I don't even know what we called him anymore. And they do pick up a kill, so 2 for 2 trade. Brokey, and playing both alive here. And Plan's GA was popped, but in the top lane, you see a giant minion wave pushing onto an inhibitor. And
it's mirrored on the other side because there's a very big wave here for ESC pushing the inhibitor turret. We do see that Scott Lowell is going to go clear out the Vengeance minions and the rest of ESC backing off. But again, in that mid lane, a recall from Shasu. The rest of the team are dancing around him, hanging around him.
Yeah.
Forced to waste a flash from Chris, defensively. Forced to use a talisman defensively. And if you're going to recall, if you want to recall to shop and heal up, tell your team to back off. Make a concise decision. Give up your positioning in the mid lane, because that fight could have gone a lot worse for ESC.
That could have been the game if that cocoon did land, and Chris, luckily being fast on the fingers, was able to flash out of it. But funny enough, with Baron being up the last, it feels like 10 minutes now, neither team has even tried to contest him. There's been no dancing at Baron. It's been a dance in the mid lane.
It's very awkward, actually. Now that you say it that way, when you think about it, Baron was up, Dragons just respawned as well. You had very big minion waves that Vengeance did not respond to, nor did they react to. They had a very big wave pushing that top lane, and traditionally we've seen playing Jax, I hate his nickname, playing Jax, soloing, doing the split push job, and he didn't do it when he had the minions. Now all of a sudden he's trying to build this wave up. So just a little bit of mixed messaging, I think, from both of these teams on the decision and the direction they want to follow.
Hopefully they'll be able to decide here very shortly. We do see a lot of items, pretty much all item builds being completed here. We even see right now Apple building into an large rise. Dose actually going to go straight for Koala here. He's going to repel, and he's going to hop right over to those raids. He is so lucky that those are up, because if they were not, I think ESC would have picked him up and gotten the kill.
Yeah, definitely. Assault and Battery was not used there from Dose. So keep that in mind. But Koala Hot has definitely impressed me with his repels. He's gotten out a couple of very sticky situations. And you do see now the 4v4 once again. And the key, all you got to look for those charms and cocoons.
Wow, you see Fel actually dropped so low from one Orb Deception. All the ultimate coming out of Orianna, but who's there to back it up? Scott trying to do the damage with the Cologne, but it's just not enough. And Dose, he has to use his ultimate just yet. As Annie Tibbers comes out into the backside, Scott and Chris both getting caught with that. And Brokey not really hitting anyone with that extra ultimate, but all this fighting happening, no kills going down just yet. And Plan, he's coming in from the backside. He's looking for some kills. He's looking for that cleanup that you called out earlier on, and he's about to pick something up here. He's going to drop in. He does have that Blade of the Rune King used. And Scott, I'm not sure if he can survive here, but Dose, who kept his ultimate available this entire time, was able to stop him. And now Shasu, who has returned back to the fight, going straight onto Lord in the back of the team, isn't going to be enough to take him down, but he survives.
Manages to get out cleanly. They didn't get Scott Lol, and Scott Lol is so much damage. Chris is going to try to kill the Koala, doesn't get the last hits. I feel like Scott Lol could have been could have got a couple more auto attacks out. And unfortunately, ESC now are going to lose probably another inhibitor unless they get some CC.
Well, Dose going in for quality here with the help of Scott Lowe. He does have the Cologne again. It was used in the fight prior, and that is the cooldown on that. Picks up the kill, and Dose still going for Broken here. His ultimate has a long time on it, and chasing down Angelo is no easy feat, but still, they hold on to the fight. They hold on to both their inhibitors, with this one still at 75% health, and they win the fight. They may even go for Baron.
60 seconds before Elise can come up. They've got a lot of damage between them, so they should be able to pick up this Baron very quickly. And what was so key in that fight was how long Dose held onto his Assault and Battery. He held onto that Vi ultimate until Jax was a threat to his AD carry, and then he managed to pick up the kill. True Shot Barrage is here from Brokey, and can he get it?
A little early on that one. He's going to go for it. He doesn't actually hit the Q, and we do see ESC playing it smarter this time, even though Elise wasn't there, waiting for the moment to go for the kill. And they get the Baron for the first time of the game for themselves. They only get on 4 members, but they've been able to hold on to these fights so well, considering we had an inhibitor already fall for Vengeance middle.
Yeah, and we're super ultra late game right now. You can see Leandri's Torment completed for Fail Factory Zyra. A needlessly large rod sitting in Apple Legends pockets. He's getting himself towards most likely what will be a Zonya's Hourglass, which we've actually seen from many Korean supports. And every single item slot is full for these two teams. But the one thing that's very important, Guardian Angel is about to become available here for playing. In that previous fight, had it been up, he may have been able to get that last auto attack or 2 onto Scott's Lucian to pick up the kill. Now he will have it, so we'll have to see if Vengeance decide to pick a fight with the GA up.
Well, right now, ESC with that Baron for the first time. I wonder if they're going to go for a push here, because right now, bottom lane, if I can click it, turrets, it's missing a little bit of health. They haven't been able to do as much as they wanted to, but with how late we are, like you're saying before, we're in hyper late game, it only takes a matter of a half a second to take a turret down. And right now, ESC, they have Vengeance out of position. They don't have a word to spot them going for this, and they're going to have to back out. They're going to take the Dragon, but what will they lose for it? Nothing. Apparently. Those are the best moments when you're casting, like, this could totally happen, but they are listening and told them to do anything for it.
Yep. I gave it a second. I was leaving that, tension moment to build up. Yep. Just that little moment to see what happens. As it stands, though, ESC, they know they've got vision control. They know they've got Baron, so trying to pull a Fnatic, trying to pull a Death Bush off here and waiting for somebody to come into their claws. But they're doing it in the wrong bush, I feel, because the minion wave is pushing up top. They may have positioning here on the tower. Shasu, he's tanking it up. He's got a lot of armor to work with, but no CC lands, and they're going to get 1 or 2 auto attacks.
Now it's coming down to a poking game here, and you're seeing Koala be so tanky at this point. He's able to survive a lot of damage from Chris, but all it takes is one very well-placed shockwave here.
That's a lot of good damage into Apple Legend. If he's low, the likelihood of that flash engage is going to rescind just a little bit. Keep in mind, we have seen ESC engaging with Zyra ultimates. It's not 100% ideal, especially behind the turret where everybody can just fan out. But we have seen them do it in the past, and we'll see how they respond. Minions in the top lane, and minions pushing in the bottom lane. This is a very good position to be in if you're ESC Icybox.
Let's see if they can make something happen off it. Shasu gets caught with a cocoon. Top turret has fallen in favor of ESC here, but they haven't been able to do any damage to this turret. They're afraid of just the CC that Vengeance will be able to apply with that cocoon, with that charmer, even the Annie coming in. And they're taking it very slowly, letting those minions push, just like you said, in that top and bottom lane. It's not the flashiest of things to see. It's not the flashiest of ways to win, but it is damn effective.
Yeah, gotta play it by the numbers. It's the towers that count, and the minions are going to help you do that. Now, the moment somebody shows in that top lane to deal with those minions, ESC is going to go in. You can see they feel that they've got the numbers advantage, and Vengeance Esports is looking for a fight. Scott Lowe has not been attacking the towers, and there they go!
Look at that Stranglethorn zoning Vengeance out completely with the fact
Great
Shockwave coming in, picks up 1, looking for 2 as Shasu dives in straight to the backside, and look at this. Koala is pretty much getting attacked by every single member of ESC. He drops, and ESC are surely going to take this game. 70-second respawn timers on the 2 members that are down from Vengeance. They're going to get the first inhibitor. They're going to close this one out.
That has to be game right now. All 5 members still standing. Chris goes low to those critical hits, but Brokey's in trouble.
Oh, I'm not sure he's going to survive this one. No, he gets shut down by Scott Lowe, who's now 12-5 at this point. We do have the GA available for play, and he's going to be going in. He hasn't fully healed because he doesn't even have home guard, but he doesn't have boots, period. He goes down. The GA is popped. He's definitely going to die right after this on top of that. And ESC are going to close this series out in a 2-0.
2-0, and this was a very, very good game between these teams. In the mid-game, the fights were a little bit sloppy, a little bit all over the place, but a decisive move by ESC right underneath the turret there. Actually, there was a good counter engage because Jax threw himself in first. Jax dove in with that GA, with that Counter-Strike, and he wasn't able to lock up members of ESC, and unfortunately, basically cost the game.
I love the string of thorns coming out of Zyra on that one too. Like that's what I love about her in terms of the choke points right there, because it allowed them to go for a full engage. ESC couldn't come out of the base, or sorry, not ESC. Vengers couldn't come out of the base to go for the back line, and it allowed the rest of ESC to just pretty much power through. But very well played for them after, was it 56 minutes? I pulled up here.
57 minutes and 14 seconds.
A very long game for both these teams. And considering how the first game went, we thought it would be very easy for ESC, but Vengers put up a good fight.
I completely agree with that. I definitely felt like ESC was going to be the stronger team in that matchup. And at the end of it, they did prove it.
Yeah.
But the mid game, they really need to work on their cohesion, because their decision making and their movement as a unit was sorely lacking. They were really all over the place.
Yeah, the miscommunication or the lack of a voice in the team saying, let's do this kind of thing. But that will be it for the first semifinal coming up today. We do have another one. It will be between Dynamics and Playing Ducks. And the winner
Planet Key Dynamics, I'll have you know. Versus Playing Ducks. EV. I don't know what EV
means.
For.
I don't know. I've been in Germany for over a year and a half.
Maybe it evolves into a Flareon or a Jolteon or something.
But guys, don't go. We'll be back shortly in about 5 to 10 minutes with that semifinal coming up. This is the EPS 2013 Winter Finals here at ESL TV. Guys, see you soon.